Now I'm going to draw my door. We talked about how to draw a door. I start my line command. I click here, and I begin to draw it. And how wide is that going to be? It's going to be 36. Hit my enter key. And then I showed you could use an arc or you could do a circle. If we do an arc, I just go ahead and pick on. Go ahead and pick an arc. Click here, and click there, and it automatically creates an arc. But it's not necessarily a real pretty looking arc. So what I want to do here is, instead of doing it that way, I'm going to use an arc, start, center, end. So my start is going to be, let's see here, yeah, start, center, and end. Right there, it looks a little more elegant there. Okay, so that's what we got, and then I would trim this out here again, using select all, just to kind of like make it look a little better. Now this one doesn't have to be trimmed, because that is a dimension. And so I wouldn't want to get rid of that. And this one looks like right here. Yeah, so sometimes you got to kind of choose things a little bit differently to get it to trim. And there we have that. So then I can just go ahead and start to move my dimensions where they need to go. In this case, this is supposed to be outside anyway. So this is how you begin to build it. Now, my next wall, and another cool thing too is if I want to use my software to change my layers, I can just go to here and say make current. I click on make current right there, and I click there, and it makes my walls the current layer. So it's that brown layer. So now I'm going to keep on, and I'm going to go ahead and touch it here, and my other wall's got to be 4 feet, so I type in 4 feet, like that, boom. And then it's got to come out a distance of 4 feet 4. And then the thickness of each wall is what? Yeah, and so I can just go ahead and bring it back here, return it, and we'll snap right to there. Go ahead and trim it again. And that's gonna, and so you kind of get the idea. Now, once I want to put in my windows, there's a couple different things I can do. Okay, we'll start with this, this 4-foot window that we see at the lower left here. Now, first of all, we're going to change the layer to windows. Now, to draw this right here, there's a couple things I can do. I'm just going to show you a couple different ways to do this. There's more than this way to do it, but I'll show you this. You'll see that my measurement tells me what the center point of that window is. What's the center point of the window? Okay, take a look at the upper left part of our drawing. Let me show you what I mean. All right, let me show you. Let's see. We're going back here to floor plan assignment. Make sure this is clear. Okay. Okay, here it is right here. And this is the right measurement. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, by the way, if we weren't missing a dimension, we can find it right here. Okay, so what we have right here is the distance from here to here is what?
10 foot.
It's 10 feet. So that's telling me from the outside wall to the center of this window is 10 feet. And very often that's how windows are dimensioned. So it's a 10-foot dimension. So I got my windows going here. I can start just to make life a little easier on myself, I'm going to start with a polyline. I'm going to start from my outside, and without clicking, I drag it down. I type in 10. I kind of lost it. All right, and I go down here 10 feet. Okay, and then when I've got that, that's my center, okay, of my window. So that's where I start. Now, how wide is my window?
4 feet.
4 feet. So I can go up 2 feet, and then I can go in this direction, and then now I'm going to go down for the full length of the window, and the full length is 4 feet, or 48. And then I'm going to go back this way, and then I just go ahead and close that out. Okay, so I went ahead and drew that, and you can see that that's in place now. Now, just that you understand how I did this, I made the trim pieces on each side 6 inches for each window, so just go over 6, and then we can go down to there. And then we do the same thing, and all I'm doing is just like touching it here and going 6 inches and drawing those little line pieces. And then I want to make sure my midpoint object snap is turned on, and then I can create my final line, which goes right here, like that. And that is how you create your windows. Now we're going to get into inserting blocks and so forth, but for right now, that's just a kind of a quick and easy way to make a window. Now, if I go back to my dimensions here, okay, I'm on the dimension layer, and I want to go ahead and now I want to identify that and say, yep, it's at 10 feet. It picks up the midpoint right there, and it finds that, and we're good to go. So now my drawing is looking pretty kosher. Now, at this point, I could just go ahead and copy that window exactly 10 feet down. So now we're gonna look at the copy command. So the copy command, I can just go ahead and pick these elements, and since I'm using my blue selection tool, it only selects these things. If I were to go in this direction, it picks up way too much stuff. So I go this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so I go there, and I right click. And now at this point, I'm gonna click here, I'm gonna drag it down. How far do I wanna go? 10 feet. That's right. And then I got that, and we're gonna need to mention it, let's verify that it is right. So go to here, go from midpoint here to midpoint here, and if I got it right, we are in business, okay? So I just did a quick copy right there. Once I got one, I can just copy it all around, okay? So that was copying, and that was so I got my two 4-foot windows. Now, if everything's right, my last dimension down here should be 5 feet, okay? Let me take a look at my drawing out here. This should be 5 feet, all right? If I did it right. Let's find out if I did. So we'll go ahead and click here, and click to the center of this, and Shazam, we're good to go.
What did you click on though to make, when you moved it?
Yep.
So that, how did it know it went from the center and not from the top?
Okay, what I did here is, run a dimension here. Okay, clicking it here.
Oh, I mean the window, sorry. When you moved it.
Oh, when I moved it.
Replace
Okay, when I did that, okay, good question. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is if I just go ahead and erase this, just grabbing that. Copy goes like this. Copy is a great command. Copy and move, you're gonna be using this a lot. So go to copy. Now, first of all, we saw this is not a good idea. That's what we call dirty bad toilet. All right, so we go this way. All right. You guys know what that came from? Dirty bad toilet? No, okay. You've probably seen people that work with primates. All right, they work with, gorillas, chimpanzees, and this kind of thing, and they're really intelligent. And there was this one gorilla, this is back in the 60s, in the 60s. And there was a gorilla, it might have been Jane Goodall, I forget, but anyway, so she had this thing where she worked with gorillas, and so she actually taught them sign language. And so basically the gorilla actually had a vocabulary like 60 words of sign language, it could actually speak, by just using hand motions. And so they decided to say, let's see what the emotional intelligence is of this particular gorilla. And so what they did is, they started to treat this chimpanzee really, really well. It was actually a gorilla. They treated this gorilla really well. And they basically gave the gorilla, new food, and they'd pet the gorilla, and they do all the things that it liked, make sure it has toys, take it for walks, take him for walks, all this kind of stuff. And he would begin to express that, just like, I love you, this kind of thing, and do different kind of animals. And then they started to decide, let's see what he does if we kind of treat him not so good. And so they started to deny him his food, and they started kind of like just leave stuff out of his reach and this kind of thing. And they just kind of like started to kind of mess with him, and see what he'd do. And he cursed them in the most profound gorilla language, which was, you dirty bad toilet. So that's gorilla cursing right there. Okay, that's real. That's real gorilla cursing. So dirty bad toilet is when you're going in the wrong direction. So anyway, so this is dirty bad toilet because you're going to select way too much stuff. So what you want to do here is you want to go like this. Okay, you grab that. Now, the next thing you do is when you're going to copy something, AutoCAD has the intelligence to know that wherever you pick and you tell it to go someplace, it's going to go an absolute distance. Okay, so the window, whether I pick one end, the center, or the other end, it's 10 feet no matter how I go. Okay, it's going to be a 10 feet distance no matter what I do. So if I right click here, it asks me to pick a base point, and it doesn't matter where I pick. If I pick here and go down, I can say 10 feet, and as long as I tell it where to go, it's going to be 10 feet, and it puts exactly where I want it to go. Does that make sense? Because it's not so you're supplying a base point, and you don't even have to supply a base point. You could just hit enter at that, but it tends to be confusing to people, so I like to give a base point because it makes you feel a little more secure about what you're doing. You're controlling one another. Does that make sense, how copy works? You're going to need to use this. So move and copy operate the exact same way. You start the command, you select your objects, you choose a base point, and you tell it where to go. That's what's going on there. Make sense? All right. Hopefully it is. I'm just trying to save you time. Or you could just draw it all over again yourself. You can do that too. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, I could also copy this to the other side of the drawing and then place it. Okay, I could do that too. But I don't really, that might be a little bit too complicated. There's also some 5-foot windows, but the same the same thing works however you do those. So that's how you do your windows. Now, your doors, we already know how to do door, we saw how to do this one. Now, the doors that we see here, well, it looks like I left off a door dimension, didn't I? I did, I left off a door dimension. And the one that's missing is, I'll show you which one it is. I did not put in the dimension for this door right here. I did not give that to you. So the dimension to this door, let's put it down real quickly so that you have it. The dimension to this door is 2'8". Okay, so you want to write that down. So get out a pencil or paper, write down 2'8" for that door, 2'8" inches. I could have made you figure it out, but that's a little bit much. And then there's a few 2'8" inches, 2'8" inch doors. Okay, so you got that. Now going back to here, and as we're starting to construct this right here, so we saw how